Hey guys, it's Eshani. So let's just get the elephant out of the room. I know everybody always needs to talk about when there is a new background going on. I feel like I'm entitled to definitely speak on this because my background hasn't changed in such a long time. However, I recently incorporated a little bit of a studio space, a little bit of an office space into my life, and I figured this would be the perfect place for me to film. So I've got a little bit of a new background. I don't know if it's gonna change. The background might switch around a little bit. I might angle the camera a couple different ways. It might be a little echoey in here because there's not a ton of furniture in this room, so please pardon all of that. But luckily, it's a pretty relaxed, chill video for today. We are going to be chatting about new holiday makeup releases, the good, the bad, the ugly. While I'm calling this video an anti-haul holiday makeup releases type video, it's not going to be a complete and total anti-haul. While I will be totally honest with you guys about the makeup items that I think are really not going to be worth your money this holiday season, there are some things that I've seen previews of that I am actually excited to grab as well. So this is just going to be a casual Eshani commenting on new makeup holiday releases for 2021. Let's go ahead and start off with the complete snooze fest of the season. Anastasia Beverly Hills is releasing this holiday palette. They call it their Primrose palette. 12 shades that are rose inspired and 2 blushes. My goodness, this could not be more boring. At this point, I feel like Anastasia has already done their due diligence in the neutral palette realm. I mean, they have Soft Glam, which, don't get me wrong, that is one of my favorite palettes of all time. They also came out with that limited edition Sultry palette, which was neutral for the most part. They just came out with that mini Soft Glam palette. A lot of the collaborations they do tend to lean fairly neutral. I don't know why they thought that they needed to make this palette. The lightest color in here doesn't seem to be that light, and the deepest color also doesn't seem to be that deep. Most of the shades in this palette are kind of a mid-tone color, but even those 2 blushes, I mean, the lighter of the 2 I genuinely thought was a highlight. I'm kind of surprised they're marketing that as a blush. I don't know who that would be a blush on. Is that shimmery? No, it's matte. That blush is not gonna work for most people. You could probably use it as a shadow, but I don't know, you guys. I saw this palette and I literally was completely snoozing. I couldn't believe this was an Anastasia palette. I feel like a lot of times they come out with things that are fairly on trend and innovative, and I feel like they're usually one of the companies that's really good about coming up with new stuff. But this just ain't it, you guys. This ain't it. I'm not interested. This is one of those palettes that I think you can definitely skip. You guys know I always get excited about the Hourglass Holiday Ambient Lighting palette. So let's talk about the 3 palettes that they have come out with for holiday 2021. We've got the Ambient Lighting Edit Universe palette, the Ambient Lighting Edit Universe Unlocked palette, and then we've also got a new Ambient Lighting Volume 3 palette, and this is specifically geared towards medium to deep skin tones. Alrighty, let me get this Ambient Lighting Palette Volume 3 out of the way. I think it's about time Hourglass did this. I think one of the biggest things that people have to critique Hourglass on is that for a company that, let's be real, has an insanely high profit margin, this is a company that is doing fairly well for themselves. Now, I don't know the back-end books on it, but it seems like they're doing well. They always come out with really cool things. They come out with unique formulas, unique packaging, very innovative company. That's why I've stood behind Hourglass for so many years. However, I do understand most people's critiques with the brand in that most of the palettes they come out with are geared towards light skin tones. I don't think that you can really argue that fact. That's just the way it is. That doesn't mean that I haven't been able to get the palettes to work for me, but it's pretty clear that I'm not even the skin tone that they had in mind when they were creating most of their kind of curated palettes. Because of that, I know a lot of people have stopped purchasing from Hourglass. I've definitely been more weary about purchasing things from Hourglass recently, but I would be lying if I said that I wasn't willing to give them a shot. I'm always here open to see if brands will will branch out, will be more inclusive. To me, I think if you're not even willing to give a brand a shot, why would they even be incentivized to expand their range? You know, if the brand knows that they're gonna get just as much criticism for finally expanding their range as they would get if they just never expanded their range, why would they even try? So in my head, I want brands to try. I want them to expand. I want everybody to be able to try these products because I genuinely do love the Hourglass ambient lighting formula. With that being said, I think this palette looks really, really beautiful. I don't know if I will try it personally because all the colors do seem pretty dark. In that same vein, I think it's about time that they released 2 different holiday palettes. One that's clearly geared towards lighter skin tones and one that's geared towards more medium to tan to deeper skin tones. As far as I can tell from the pictures here, the Ambient Lighting Edit Universe palette, this seems to be the lighter of the 2. It's definitely swirled really beautifully with that marbled effect that a lot of the ambient lighting face color products have. The darker one, the Ambient Lighting Edit Universe Unlocked palette, this is coming home with me 1000%. This looks beautiful. From what I can tell, it's 2 gorgeous blush shades that I do think will work on most skin tones. I believe that's a highlighter, the smaller pan in the corner, and if I'm not mistaken, the bigger pan looks like an ambient lighting powder. I'm guessing that's the reason it's in a bigger pan, is because it's meant to go kind of all over the face and not just the cheeks. And even the bronzer, it looks like a beautiful color. Honestly, I'm happy Hourglass did this. It's about time they did this. Thank you to Hourglass in 2021 for finally being inclusive. But again, I don't want to be overly critical because I want them to continue doing this. I want them to continue expanding their range. If next year they can release 3 palettes, one for light, medium, and even deeper skin tones, that would be amazing. Let's chat really quickly about Charlotte Tilbury's holiday collection because this one I'm not super thrilled with. She's got an Instant Eye palette in Smoky Eyes Are Forever. This is a 12 shade palette. She usually comes out with this type of a palette around the holidays. I think if you want to incorporate just the slightest hint of green or olive in your eyeshadow collection, maybe you would be interested in this. But to be totally honest, if you kind of just block out essentially the one green color that's in this palette, let's be real, just the middle shade in that green trio is really the only green you're getting. If you just ignore that color altogether, you're getting a very classic, very standard warm tone neutral eyeshadow palette, something that most of us probably already own. Not to say that this is a bad palette, but for the price of it, and based on what I've heard about Charlotte Tilbury's holiday palette quality in general, I think we can do better than this. I really don't think that anybody needs this palette in their collection. Okay, let's chat Pat McGrath, shall we? Because Pat McGrath she's doing the most for holiday 2021. First off, we got the Celestial Odyssey palette. This is an 18 pan eyeshadow palette. It looks beautiful. I would love to know how many of these shades are in the Pat McGrath Special formula, because if we're being honest, the Pat McGrath Special Baked Glitter super sparkly shades, that's her thing. That's the reason to purchase Pat McGrath. That's the reason to pay these pretty outrageous prices for an eyeshadow. So right now, because I don't know how many of these colors in this palette are special, I want to say it's beautiful. I want to say the swatches look gorgeous. And if there are at least a couple special shades, I would say jump on it. I love the Pat McGrath formula. I think this is pretty. I also really like the idea of these blush trios. These are called the Divine Blush and Glow Trios. There are 2 different color families. We've got the Galactic Sun and the Amber Allure. Honestly, they both look stunning. Each of these palettes has 2 blushes and 1 item that seems to be a highlighter. Love the concept, love the idea, would definitely love to try these. And I believe at least one of the shades in each of the trios seem to be from her permanent blush line as well. I love when companies do that. I love when they release sets or holiday palettes and not all the colors are new. These are things that are pulled in from their permanent line. That way you get a really realistic and true idea of what the full size blushes can be, what they can look like. So really like the idea of these. I'm probably gonna end up purchasing at least one, if not both of these. The Celestial Odyssey Luxe Quads. We've seen Pat McGrath quads. Again, these look really pretty. I personally don't know if I'll purchase either of these because the colors look pretty basic. I feel like you can never get a true, realistic idea of the magic of her formulas until you see them in person. Pat McGrath released a new palette recently, and when I saw it online, I was like, meh, I don't need that. It looks like any other palette. And then when I went to Sephora recently, saw it in person, of course my eye went to it, I swatched it, and I was like, I need this. So I'm waiting for that Sephora 20% off to grab that other Pat McGrath palette. But there's something about Pat McGrath that just gets me so excited every time she has her holiday collections or her new items. I really love Pat McGrath, and while I don't think I'm gonna purchase either of these quads, after I see them in person and swatch them, that'll be the true telling point right there. I gotta just throw this in here really quickly because this was a genius idea on Farmacy's part. They are releasing a green clean trio set with 3 limited edition brand new green clean scents. I want to say this is Farmacy's best-selling item. It's also the only makeup cleansing balm I repurchase over and over and over again. You've got the strawberry basil, lemon mint, and peach thyme. Very, very clever, honestly. All 3 of those scents sound delicious, especially the strawberry and peach. Yes, please. This is also a really good way for Farmacy to come out with 3 new scents, see which ones hit, see what the feedback is, see which ones people want to see back, and then come out with them in full sizes later on. I can almost bet you that's exactly what they're going to do at some point. And I don't hate that idea because Laneige does the same thing with their lip sleeping masks. For the holidays this year, Laneige has 2 different sets for their lip sleeping masks. So you've got this set, which is the Midnight Mini set. It's 5 mini sizes of their lip sleeping masks in 5 different flavors. Honestly, all of these sound amazing. You've got their original one, you've got the sweet candy, you've got gummy bear, lemon sorbet, and mint chocolate. Yep, all of those sound delicious. They also came out with this all-nighter lip set, and this has a full-size lip sleeping mask in their original flavor and 2 new limited edition scents, which are gingerbread and peppermint, sorry, ginger snap and peppermint, both of which I'm very curious to smell and very curious to use. So more than likely, both of these sets will be coming home with me. I'm gonna go ahead and end on this one. This looks very pretty. This is the Gucci, the Beauté des Yeux floral eyeshadow palette, maybe, yes, no, probably no. This looks pretty, although I wanna completely admit the only thing that's attracting me to this palette is the packaging. Look at that freaking floral packaging. That is so pretty with the Gucci in the middle and the flowers and just the shape of the palette. When you see the whole palette open, you can see there's a lot of wasted space. I think it's because you're able to pop the eyeshadow palette portion out and put in another one. I want to say that's the reason there's that kind of awkward line around the eyeshadow palette portion, is so that you can refill the compact. I definitely like that idea. I like the idea of being able to hold on to this compact forever because it's the only thing that's making me interested in this. It is $150, so probably won't be buying it, but the color scheme isn't really anything special. You've got that pretty sky blue, but again, if you take that color out, everything else is pretty basic. But the packaging though, I gotta admit, that packaging though. Alrighty guys, that wraps up my video for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what holiday makeup items you are excited to pick up this holiday season, or ones that you're specifically not interested in. Please don't forget to thumbs up this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you want to stick around on my channel, and I will talk to you guys very soon. I'll see you then. Bye!